everything's gonna be alright. And when we get there, I'ma see a pretty, pretty, pretty young thing. I'ma ask her to take my hand, head to the floor, we gon' dance. And when we get there, best believe we gonna do a two-step. Ain't no drama in here, so don't stress. Step to the right, then slide to the left.
Good evening and welcome to the Stephen Knight Show. Hope you're having a wonderful Monday and I hope it gets a little bit better for you. Tonight we're having a very different show than usually. We're not doing hot topics because we're doing the interview, or discussion panel actually, with a guy named Scott Rhodes and Savage. You may remember Savage, she's with the Articulate podcast. I saw a video a few weeks ago by Scott, and he was talking about, Scott is a white guy, and he was talking about, in his opinion, the issues in the black community. He says that it's not white privilege or racism, but it's more of the things that we experience as a race, black people experience as a race. Of course, it went viral, and there are a lot of opinions about it. I got a lot of backlash for even inviting him on the show to discuss it, but I think that it's important for us to have these conversations about race. And my intention was not to change Scott's ideology or change his mindset. It was because so many people follow him. I wanted whoever's listening tonight to hear something and hopefully walk away with something they'd never thought of or they never heard from a certain perspective. So that was the point of me bringing him on the show. I think that it's important for us to have these conversations because a lot of people, and I will say a lot of white people, don't know where they fit into the conversation because they don't want to come off as racist. They don't want to come off as a bigot. And so hopefully this conversation will be one that speaks to everyone. And, you know, I don't think I changed Scott's mindset. That wasn't my goal. My goal was to have a conversation with them. And I respect him for coming on the show, and I respect him for doing the interview, and also Savage for always coming on our show and supporting what they do. So we'll be having that discussion. You'll hear that discussion later in the show. But I want to remind you, all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, and, of course, our official website, thestephenknightshow.com. Send us an email if you'd like to, submissions@thestephenknightshow.com. You can also submit your music to be featured on our show. When we come back, my discussion with Scott and with Savage, right back after this.
Spending time getting to know some things. Major vibes, you're playing my favorite keys. On my mind, I got you on repeat. Day and night, you're singing your song for me. I haven't loved somebody, gave somebody my time that flew right by me. Love somebody, touch somebody, so right you crept up on me. Love somebody, gave somebody my mind, you drive me crazy. Love somebody, touch somebody, so right you could be my sofa, baby, sofa. I'll call you my sofa, baby, sofa. You could be my sofa, baby, sofa. I'll call you my sofa, baby, sofa. You could be. Take your time, there's no need to rush this thing. Keep it light while I slowly plug your strings. You could write the sweetest melody some on me. Love somebody, gave somebody my mind. You drive me crazy. Love somebody, touch somebody so right. You could be my soulful baby, soulful. I'll call you my soulful baby, soulful. You could be my soulful baby, soulful. I'll call you my soulful baby, Tell me how you like it, baby. Tell me how you want it, baby. Tell me how you like it, baby. Tell me how you want it, baby. Tell me how you like it, baby. Tell me how you want it, baby. Tell me what you like to say. Scream it to the every break. Be my soulful, soulful baby. Be my soulful baby. You could be my soulful baby, soulful. I'll call you my soulful baby, soulful. You could be.
Where?
On the beat is too flexing.
If you taste my banana, you not go. If you taste my banana, you not go. My baby banana, baby, you not go. My baby banana, baby, you not go. If you taste my banana, you not go. If you taste my banana, you not go. Oh my baby, my African lady, oh. She's my lady, my beautiful baby, oh. Oh my lady, my African baby, oh. She's my lady, my fun sweetie, oh. See, I get the banana, a sweet, sweet banana. I get the banana, my big, big banana. You will like my banana, titi, sweetie banana. Oh my baby, fun baby, oh. Oh my baby, my sweetie baby, oh. Oh my baby, fun baby, oh. So I say, I will give it to you, sucker, sucker. I say, sucker, I will give it to you, my sucker, so you will take it, sucker. If you taste my banana, you not go. If you taste my banana, you not go. My baby banana, baby, you not go. My baby banana, baby, you not go. Oh, but we didn't make up a motica. Oh, my Jula, oh, wait, up by me, Calebio. Najula, yeah, you know, up by me, Calebio. You know that the mono, Najula, up by my Recheo. Why, by me, Calebio? Why, you mother, I think you're saying, I'm a telema, I'm a Calebio. Oh my baby, my African lady, oh. She's my lady, my beautiful baby, oh. Oh my lady, my African baby, oh. She's my lady, my fun sweetie, oh. Sweet, sweet baby. See, I get the banana, a sweet, sweet banana. I get the banana, my big, big banana. You will like my banana, titi, sweetie banana. Oh my baby, fun baby, oh. Yeah, you will mama will yeah, you will you know that you male, yeah, you will no, you will yeah, you will male, if you taste my banana, you not go. If
is too flexing.
Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. So this next conversation is one that I caught a lot of flack for even engaging in with this next guest, Scott Rhodes. He is a Caucasian American. He served in our armed forces. We thank him for our service. And he made a video that went viral. He was talking about, in his opinion, what are the issues in the black community. He says it's predominantly about the music, the rap music, the lyrics that are being said. He doesn't believe in that racism is a big part of what's going on. He doesn't believe in white privilege at all. And he thinks that a lot of it is the things that we have in our community that we have to work on. He's joined us tonight, as well as Savage from the Articulate Podcast, to have a discussion. First, I want to play for you the clip from his video, and then we'll talk. Take a listen.
African American communities in this nation are disproportionately failing, and it's not because of systemic racism, and it's not because of a lack of privilege. It's because there's problems within the culture. There's a cultural issue happening from within the black community that needs to be corrected. Why does 13% of the population, which is black, cause over 50% of the murders in this nation? Why does that happen? Why is the single parenthood rating in the black community upwards of 70%, significantly higher than any other ethnic group? And why is it that approximately 95% of all black homicides are committed by other black individuals? It's really easy to point the finger and say it's not my fault, it's systemic racism keeping us down, it's the fact that we don't have privilege is the reason why we're not succeeding. No, that's not the reason you're not succeeding. It's the fact that you have some problems in your culture that are bringing your people down, and you need to correct them. Was America more racist now than it was in 1960? Because all of these stats have greatly increased within the greatest time period for civil rights. The answer is no. We're not more racist now than it was in 1960, but for some reason we have more problems. These problems have nothing to do with racism and everything to do with the culture within the black community. And more specifically, what I want to attribute all these problems to, or a majority of these problems to, is the music that this culture produces, that the black culture produces. It's undeniable that one of the biggest influencers in our society today is the music industry. So black music, or music that is predominantly listened to and produced by the black community, promotes the objectification of women, the selling and trafficking of drugs, and also gang violence as well as gun violence. You don't believe me? Let me just quote some of the most popular songs. If a nigga wants static, let him have it. Have you ever seen a mini semi-automatic? A boogie with the hoodie. Everyone screaming fuck WestJet. Lil Pump still sell that meth. Little Pump. Fucking on your bitch, she a thought. Cooking up dope in the crock pot. Migos. When you're teaching your communities that being hard, selling drugs, and shooting individuals with guns is the cool thing to do, you end up destroying your communities with drugs, with gun violence, and you end up having a good portion of your population in prison. And when you're in prison because you wanted to be hard, who's there to raise your goddamn kids? Children that don't grow up with their fathers are 5 times more likely to end up poor, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, 20 times more likely to develop behavioral disorders, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. So now the next generation in the community has to grow up with more problems because the choices their parents make, but also the influencers within their ethnic group. So statistically, you can see why there's problems within the black community that aren't related to some racist government. It's all internal. It's all coming from within. And you can see how the next generation is going to suffer because when these kids grow up with all these problems, they become adults. They have kids and they pass down those problems and those ideas, those belief systems. So now we know where the problem is coming from, and the only way to correct it now is to not play into the idea that the government is racist or there's something called white privilege, because it doesn't exist, and take individual responsibility for our children and our communities. That's how you do it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy my content. If you do, give me a like, give me a share. If you have something to say or you have a problem with something I said, send me something in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.
All right, so that was the video. Now, I reached out to Scott after I heard it, and because one thing that wanted me to have him on the show is the fact that he's willing to have a conversation about it. He's willing to, to talk through it. Also asked Savage, she's a friend of our show. She's on the Articulate Podcast, as you all know. She's on to also come from a different perspective. So I want to welcome Scott and Savage. Welcome to the show.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey,
I'm glad to be on.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time. So, Scott, before we get into it, so people get an understanding of who you are, can you just introduce yourself and kind of tell them a little bit about your background and all that?
Yeah. So like you said before, I served in the military. I'm about almost 24 years old, and I'm a political science major. And I made a video recently just describing what I've noticed from statistics and what I can reason with basic knowledge is why there's a problem within the black culture. And it almost has 1 million views now, and it seems to be a pretty hot topic amongst a lot of people. And,
right.
I mean, that's pretty much me.
Yeah. So let me ask you, because this is what I kept hearing all day when I was talking about this interview. Why are you allowing this racist on your show? Why are you giving this platform?
Ooh.
Let me ask you, are you a racist?
No, absolutely not. And I don't think anything in my video is racist. It's
Okay.
identifying a problem, and I'm not part of that ethnic group. I understand that I'm not part of the ethnic group, but that doesn't devalue my opinion on the subject.
Okay. So let me ask you this. What was your intention when you made the video? What was your intention behind it?
So my intention behind the video is that I understand what is appealing, and I understand that the black community wasn't going to take kindly to a white individual speaking on, let's say, it's an American issue, but it's an American issue related to the black culture. So I knew that would be appealing, and it worked in my favor. And the second issue is that there's the statistics that I brought up in the video I'm just trying to explain them. I'm trying to solve a social issue within our culture, but I do not like to blame the whole issue on the past. I understand that there is a little bit of systemic racism, or a little bit of the factors of systemic racism that happened 30, 40 years ago that still play an effect, but it doesn't explain the statistics when it comes to, let's say, the murder rate or the single parenthood rate, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, Savage, let me bring you in. So I sent you the video last night to watch. When you saw it, what were your thoughts? When you saw it, what were your thoughts?
My initial thought was that, this is very disappointing. It's not I think the reason it was disappointing to me is because I've heard this rhetoric before, and it's not productive. So when I'm listening to a video or when I'm listening to a podcast or a debate, I'm hoping to learn something from the video or hoping to learn something from that particular conversation, or perhaps it sparked something in me to go out and do something for the community, but I didn't get that from the video. So my initial thought was to go out and see, what else is Scott Rhodes talking about, what are his interests, and what is the intent behind the video. And I believe I got the answers that I was looking for based on my search, but I consider myself diplomatic, and I consider myself to be receptive of other people's opinions. So when you asked me to come on your show, I was glad to do so, just to get his opinion directly. Well, not opinion, we got that, but just to get the intent behind the video directly. So that was
Right.
a long explanation, but if I could just sum it up in one word, it's just disappointing.
Okay. Now, Scott, one of the things you say that you don't believe in white privilege. Now, the Oxford Dictionary, they define it as inherent advantages possessed by a white person based on their race in society characterized by racial inequality and injustice. And what they said is white skin privilege is not something that white people necessarily do, create, or enjoy on purpose. And like more overt individual or institutional manifests of racism described above. White skin privilege is a transparent preference for whiteness and saturates our society. So pretty much what they're saying is a lot of white people who experience privilege don't even realize they're having privilege. So they give an example of, say that if I go to a hotel, right? If I check into a hotel and I go to use the products they have, that they have just as just as convenience, a lot of the products are not designed for black people or people of color.
Oh, well, can I stop you there? Right?
Yeah.
So that's just a part of capitalism. So the products within the hotel room are designed to suit the common people. And whoever the common people within that hotel, whoever's participating in using that hotel, their services, they're going to tend to those people. So I'm sure if there was a large black community and the hotel was used predominantly by black people, I would think that they would tend to those people. But that's just a capitalism. It's the same thing with Walmart and their makeup, the Walmart makeup issue. The majority of the population in America is white, so they're going to tend to that. It's just good business.
What do you say to that, Savage?
I think that the dominant I think the dominant culture dictates what's acceptable and what's beautiful. And I think that's a little deeper than what you were asking about as far as the products go. But I can honestly say that I experience some facet of white privilege on a daily basis.
Yeah, me too.
I work for a very large company, tech company, and I work in the finance department. And I'm one of 2 black people out of hundreds of white and or Asian. And, I don't feel discriminated against overtly. I feel that people respect my opinion, but I think that comes from my education. It comes from my work ethic. And I even have a military mother. She was a colonel. So I think that there are a lot of factors in my background that allow me to push past that, but it's still there. It's just an invisible oppression that we all have to deal with.
Yeah.
Well, so when you say invisible, I'm trying to understand if it's invisible and we don't see it, and it's not such a common thing in America. That's my opinion. I don't think it's as common as you think. Racism, not white privilege, because I think there's privilege in money. I don't think there's privilege in skin pigmentation. But so what was that?
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Okay, I lost my train of thought.
You're talking about racism.
Yeah, so I know I accept the fact that there is racism in this nation, and there is, but I honestly don't think it's as common factor as the leftist media portrays it to be, and that's one of my big issues. But this idea that for some reason I grew up extremely poor. For some reason, the fact that my skin is white, I have an advantage over other people's skin pigmentations. I just don't see any proof of that. I mean, you can cite individual stories and anecdotes, but at the end of the day, where's the truth? Because I don't see any legislation in government right now that proves that the government's racist, and that's how our nation is ran by the government. So we can't dismiss the government. And what was that?
Well, can you look at the government and see who predominantly runs the government? It's white people.
Yeah, no. Oh, well, okay. So, yes. So,
you think about it, we had to wait 44 years to get a black president. And it wasn't because there weren't qualified candidates. You know what I mean? It wasn't because there weren't any qualified candidates. It's because we could not achieve that because of who dominated society.
No, and absolutely. If we rewinded 20 years into the past right now, and we were living in that day and age, we would still have some obstacles to overcome. But my opinion, as it to date in 2018 right now, we do not have anything in government holding us back. It's all dependent on hard work and how you're raised. If you put in the work, like President Obama did, he put in the work, he put in the time, he went the distance, and he got the position. He got the highest position in American office. And
so do you think? So what you're trying to tell me is out of 45 presidents, only one black president or one black man did what it took to become that, to achieve that.
Hey, soon to be more. I'm not saying that there wasn't racism or systemic racism back in the day, but as it stands now, I think everyone has an equal opportunity to achieve whatever goals they may seek.
Well, I believe that the reason why Trump is president is because it's a retaliation of 8 years of President Obama.
It might be. That might be a factor. I'm not denying that because I know a lot of people were outraged by President Obama's the way
being black.
He was elected. A lot of people elected him because he was going to be the first black president, and based only on that fact. Granted, there's others, but a lot of people voted based on that, and that's part of the outrage. Same thing with Trump now. I'm not discrediting either side.
Mm-hmm. So do you think the second term for Obama, it was not the predominantly of black people who voted him in the second term? You realize that, right?
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm talking about the first term. The first terms for both of them.
Okay. Because even and this is, I think, and of course, again, I'm not beating up on you. You were having this discussion, so that's why I'm talking about it. But when President Obama was elected president, Mitch McConnell said that his duty was to make sure he's a one-term president. And why do you think that was?
I
can't be sure what his motives were. I really can't.
I have an opinion.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I'm just going back to what I said about invisible oppression. I just wanted to define that a bit more. It's really how it's in our language, it's in our mindsets, our traditions, our values, our morals. It's hard to describe because we think of visible oppression as someone being lynched, which that's an extreme example, but
right.
someone being denied a job because they're qualified based on their skin color, or someone that look at all of the people that have been getting the police called on them recently because of their color of their skin. They may be at the pool, and you're one black person at the pool amongst 20 other white people, and no one is checking your ID. Or no one is checking their ID, but they want to see yours. That's overt oppression, right? In racism.
Okay, yeah, no, and yes, I can understand that. And I know when stuff happens, when there is police brutality, even I don't think it's a common variable at all. I think it's very rare at that. But when it does happen, it's unjust. And I will agree with you on a case-by-case scenario. But my whole video was on the music and how it's promoting a bad behavior when it comes to objectifying women, talking about trafficking, illegal drugs, gun violence, and gang violence. When you promote these things in your culture, when you make this a norm in your culture, and these rappers, even though they're not trying to be idols to these younger individuals, they're doing that because they're on the top of the billboard. They're making wealth, and everyone's watching them. So we want to be like our idols. I said on a show yesterday that, like myself personally, I used to MMA fighted for 10 years of my life, and I really looked up to MMA fighters. And there's one specifically named George St. Pierre I looked up to. He was a really nice guy. He worked out all the time, and I tried to be like him because he was my idol. And this is what's happening within the black community when it comes to music, in my opinion. I find it hard to deny the fact that music has that people would deny the fact that music has this effect on people.
But do you know the number one buyers of hip hop music? They're not black people. It's white people. If your position, you know, if there's validity to it, then we would see a bunch of white people doing these things you say that the black people are doing based on music.
But we don't. So maybe it has a different effect on the white population than it does on the black people.
Why is that?
Because so I can't be sure, but there's definitely statistics showing that we have a problem, and that's what I'm linking it to. Maybe there's more of a relation because of the skin pigmentation, or maybe there's more of a relation because they're talking about situations that these kids are growing up in, and then they can relate to that, so they idolize these individuals. Maybe it's hard to be certain, but my hypothesis I feel like is based on some pretty good logic. I mean, unless you have something else to counter it. I mean,
well, you think about it. You know, we hear a lot about white people appropriating black culture, right? Where you know black women have getting their hair braided, getting up time, and then Bo Derek did it back in the '70s, and she's the first person to do it. Kim Kardashian does it now. Oh my God, it's a new look. So it's like a lot of people say that white people want to appropriate black culture, but don't want to stand up for black rights. Well, like, you know, the injustice is out there. I mean, you turn on the TV every day. I just saw a video.
It is out there.
Today, I saw a video today where the city was called on a man because they were saying the scent of his barbecue was going throughout the neighborhood. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I don't know the full situation, but it is out there. I agree with you. It is out there. I just don't think it's a common variable.
Go ahead, Sarah. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, no.
Go ahead. You got it.
I was just going to take a step back about the cherry picking that's going on with the debate on rap music being a factor in the violence that's in the black community. I think that there are many other factors to the violence, not only in the black community but in others, and it's reckless to ignore them, and it's reckless to post YouTube videos that get 1 million views without stating the rest of the facts. So if you're taking the approach, hey, let's dive into why the black community is suffering or why there's so much violence, you need to examine all of the factors. You need to examine the stress that children go through when they don't have both parents in the home. Because
I actually state that in the video.
You stated that there are 70%, upwards of 70% of single mothers, and the actual statistics based on the CDC are that 30% of the unmarried, there's 30% of white women that are unmarried that are single mothers. There's 57.9% that are black, and there's 66% that are Hispanic. So if we're looking at the statistics amongst those three groups, obviously there's more in the United States, you would have to examine all of the factors that are leading to women that are single parents, right? Like, you can't just say, oh, the black men are listening to rap music, they're killing each other because of that, and then they're going to jail. No. There are many other factors, and it's reckless to ignore them.
Okay, so no, I see where you're coming from, and there is plenty of factors. I give precedence to the music one specifically, and that's my opinion. But are you denying the fact? Are you denying? Where is it? All right, never mind. So you called it reckless to deny these factors. I call it tactful, because when it comes to views and coming up in the algorithm, you have to leave when you're discussing stuff. You have to leave situations up to debate. You gotta engage with your followers. So when I left it open-ended, it was done on purpose, and that's why I have about 1 million views right now, because I left it up to debate. It's not that I was discrediting it. I agree that there's other factors. I give a majority to the music, but there is other factors. 51% and up, that's what I give, but there's other factors within that. So,
well, can you admit that there is white privilege, though? Can you admit that there is white privilege?
Okay, so I admit there is racism. I do not believe there's white privilege. I cannot admit that. Okay, well, let me explain to you. For me, I'm 37. You're 24. I'm 37, and I can tell you, I grew up in a predominantly white, neighborhood environment where, especially until I was about 5th grade, I was just like me or one other black girl that was in our class. White privilege, we'd have and this is from a little kid standpoint. We'd have, school plays. You try out for the part. Of course, no black person ever got it, right? My mother was an educator, and she actually taught in the inner city, which she would not let me go to the school. She wanted me to go into county school, and she made sure she was at every parent-teacher conference. She wanted to be a statistic, right? And so as I've gotten older, being pulled over just to see if I was okay for leaving work, getting I'm at work and I'm dressed in my professional clothes, and I get in an elevator with a Caucasian woman, and she looks like I'm about to rob her, and we're both at work. I remember sitting outside my house one time, just talking to a friend. The police are called on me. My home. Remember when I moved into my home, what are you doing here? So all this does, do you see how that being treated like you're second class, you don't belong, you're not good enough, do you see how that plays a part into everything that we're discussing tonight? Because you don't see those same problems in the white community, white on white. You don't see that. They're not, I'm sure you all have your own issues. White, we have our own issues within our community.
Right, exactly. I agree with you. But we're seeing that when people see us, for the most part, they see danger. They see intimidation. They see that something bad's about to happen. Do you get that?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
Okay. But do you see how this could play into the discussion we're having tonight? Because just imagine if I'm seen as someone who's intimidating, because I'm 6'4", I'm black, you know what I mean? I work out, so I have physique, and if I go into an interview with someone, a white person who may have those feelings or whatever, do you see how I automatically from the jump I'm not going to get that job just off my appearance?
Well, hey, maybe you'll get that job, maybe not. I would hope the individual that was hiring you isn't racist. But with that, all right. So what I was saying, I had a point to make. The music. So maybe the influence within the white culture, based on the music that's coming from the black culture, promotes this type of thinking. That black individuals are rappers, are trying to be rappers, are trying to be drug traffickers, are trying to objectify women, are promoting this idea that they are affiliated with this bad behavior. So that's just another factor why I think the music isn't a good thing. At least the three subjects I mentioned within the music. There's always variables to it. There's good music out there.
I have so many thoughts running through my mind. I just want to go back to the white privilege discussion really, really briefly because it's old.
When we come back, more of our discussion on race relations with Scott and Savage. Right back after this.
made love into the sunlight. Can't believe I had you going all night. A touch here, pulled hair, back it up, right there. Girl, you know you did some things to me slowly. Got me thinking I should call you my shorty. You the type that I could bring around the homies. Down for me, I ain't never gotta worry. Tease me, kiss me, squeeze me. Tell me that you miss me. Tell me you and I are meant to be. Forever you and I T.Y. Cause I'm that guy. Love at first sight when you caught my eye. Never do I ever wanna make you cry. Baby, be mine and we'll fly so high, so high. It's the morning after. It's the morning after. We made love and I can't get enough. It's the morning after. It's the morning after. We made love and I can't get enough of you. Girl, I know in the past I was moving fast in my own world. You was there all along, I was so blind to you. Pearl, if I knew then what I know now, girl, you would have been in that wedding gown. House on the hill, queen with a crown. Oh girl, you know that you are my everything. Since you've been in my life, ain't been the same. I need you, I want you, wanna be there for you. So let me love you. It's the morning after. We made love and I can't get enough. It's the morning after. It's the morning after. We made love and I can't get enough of you. Laying here in this bed, got so many things in my head. Thinking about how my life would have been if I met you way back when. But either way, I'm grateful for that love so beautiful. And I'm obsessed with showing you love, my love. Oh, baby, it's the morning after. We made love. I can't get enough. I can't get enough of you. We made love. I can't get enough. It's the morning after. Yeah, and I can't get enough. Can't get enough of you. It's the morning after. We made love, and I can't get enough of you. Yeah, I need you, baby. Oh, yeah.
Then we taking over. One time.
That's the nigga they chasing, but they chupa she jackie. Man get never suffer, suffer, man get never suffer, suffer. I'm rely on the waiting, man I'm in the setting. That's the nigga they chasing, but they chupa she jackie. I said that chupa she waiting, she checking, she
talking and she not know what they are talking. I told her that trouble she causing the way that she rocking and shaking her tuma. Onina Fatumata, put it on me like she from Kakatai. All the men is scatter, ta obene awo in a chaklai. When you tie your lapa and you wear your skin test, when you rocking your tuma, Pange I won't marry you, Chamu I won't take you. Anything you want I give it to you. Take my name, my money, my car, my clothes, my everything, oh. Suffer it, Pange never suffer it, suffer it. Hungry lion they waiting, but I'm in the setting. That's the nigga they chasing, but the jupa she jacking. Pange never suffer it, suffer it. Pange never suffer it, suffer it. Hungry lion they waiting, but I'm in the setting. That's the nigga they chasing, but the jupa she jacking.
What play you non see funk get capping? Like I said before, hungry line blocking. You leave it, another scam and we'll bop it. Grab it, squeeze it with dry face. That it done, you will be trying how to catch it. You know you're missing a casa bete. You fix it, 05 trying how to catch it. Then you want speed series now till they get. Pretty girl, let me take you out of dinner. I got a cheddar, forgive me, I was a sinner. Gonna be better from January down to December. Take trips, go to spas even in the winter. So sexy, gorgeous and beautiful. Everything that we do is so memorable. I'm feeling you from your head down to your toes. Don't have to speak on it, I'm gonna show.
Suffer it, Pange never suffer it, suffer it. Hungry lion they waiting, but I'm in the setting. That's the nigga they chasing, but the jupa she jacking. Pange never suffer it, suffer it. Pange never suffer it, suffer it. Hungry lion they waiting, but I'm in the setting. That's the nigga they chasing, but the jupa she jacking.
Anytime she walking, the boy them be watching. Anytime she walking, the boy them be jaking. Baby girl, you temptation. Anytime you turn girl, you confusion. Baby girl, you temptation. Anytime you turn girl, you confusion. Baby girl, you blow my mind away. Anytime you turn like way, girl, you make me wanting you tonight. Forget, never, you never suffer it, suffer it. Pange never suffer it, suffer it. Hungry lion they waiting, but I'm in the setting. That's the nigga they chasing, but the jupa she jacking. Pange never suffer it, suffer it. Pange never suffer it, suffer it. Hungry lion they waiting, but I'm in the setting. That's the nigga they chasing, but the jupa she jacking.
Hey everybody, this is Desiree Mitchell. My new single, I Need That, is out right now. I have Loyalty coming out. There's a lot going on, and you're listening to The Stephen Knight Show, so stay tuned.
Here's part 3 of my conversation with Savage and Scott.
One thing that, this is a funny exercise I like to do with my friends, but at my last company, we were able to see the backgrounds and the education level and the experience of all of the executives for the company. It's not a bunch. I think it was like 12. And 2 of them so happened to be black. One of them was a light-skinned black woman, and the other was a darker-skinned black man. And I bring up skin color because that's another layer. If you're lighter, you have proper accent, you have straighter hair, you have light eyes, then you are less threatening and you're more likely to be accepted by white people. But that's just a completely different conversation.
Oh, I think that you're more accepted. You're more likely to be accepted by white people, but as well as black people, because I've heard many testimonies today that black individuals have that same kind of mindset within their own communities. When someone's too dark, they'll judge, they'll make fun, they'll pick at people who are too dark, and that's internal as well as external.
That's absolutely correct, and it does stem from slavery. But that's a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
different times.
Yeah.
All of the white executives that you saw, I think one may have been an attorney, but a lot of them had a bachelor's degree a very long time ago, and they had experience. The two black executives were, one went to law school at Harvard, the other one had a PhD. They had substantially more education and experience than their white counterparts that were younger, and this is just, to me, it's blatant white privilege, because you'll even see it in, at least in my workplace, I don't know about in others, but you have to be an exceptional black person to get to the same level as someone with basic education and basic experience that's white.
Mm-hmm.
And
there's nothing legally putting that in place. I mean, that's perception. That's an idea that you have to be an exceptional.
No, these are facts.
If anything, schools are promoting with affirmative action, you don't have to be absolutely exceptional. Actually, quite the opposite, and you can still get ahead of white individuals or Asian individuals when it comes to affirmative action. So I mean,
no.
I mean,
in the real world, unfortunately, you still have a long way to go. But in the real world, that's
a legal
not the case.
thing. But no,
there's a difference between legal. There's a difference between legal. There's a difference between legal, because let me tell you, I work in the staffing industry, right? And so, in the staffing industry, I work with line hiring managers. And I know there are certain ones, especially some of the older white ones, I have to have a certain candidate that looks a certain way. I can look at a candidate and say, oh, no, he's not going to get this job. And he can have all the experience, all the education, and extremely articulate, but because of his image, and I'm not talking about he doesn't know how to dress professionally, but his skin color or whatever, he will not get that job, and I already know that. Living in Georgia, you know what I mean? So, it's not illegal, but it happens. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
But I know what you're saying, and what my mindset right now is I think we're progressing past this stage. Maybe there's some generational racism still happening, and it's not fair at all. But I feel like as a majority, the American people, we are promoting ourselves past this kind of behavior.
Do you see what's going on every day in the news? Do you watch the news?
Yes, I do watch the news. The news is a big factor in why.
So how are we getting past it? Because it seems like since Trump came in office, it's gone backwards.
So I mean, I don't think it's gone backwards, to be honest. I just feel like everyone's calling the media on their bullshit. So when there is police brutality, when it does happen, we only highlight the issues that are going to be appealing to the public, or at least CNN does, or any of the left wing media. They show.
Well, Fox News doesn't care.
What was that?
Fox News doesn't care. Because it doesn't impact them. Fox News, they don't care because it doesn't impact them.
Oh, no, they promote their own stuff. I'm not denying that. They're two different entities. But when something does happen, the left likes to push their media because it gives them power. It gives them power to promote the idea that blacks are being oppressed and we need to have a democratic president. We need to have democratic people in office to help battle this. And that's how they get power, and that's how they play on the minds of the common people. It's not common. Like I said before, police brutality against black individuals is not a common thing within America.
It's not?
No, I don't think it's common. When you look at the bulk of the data, I think it's a very small variable, to be honest. Police brutality in general and injustices that happen from the police force, I believe it's a very small variable compared to what generally happens.
So when it does happen, when we see someone, get shot shot and killed at a normal traffic stop, or we see someone walking with Skittles and a drink and they get shot, or we see we see instances all the time of this kind of stuff. Someone selling a single cigarette, they get choked to death. When that does happen, because what happens, I see videos where I see white men attacking police officers, and they get put in the back of the car, and they live to tell the next day. I saw a white guy shoot up a church in South Carolina. They took him to the jail on his way and got him Burger King. So you don't see.
Oh, no, okay. Well, no. So I can agree with you. And when that does happen, I will come to an agreement with you. Sometimes stuff like that happens, and it's not right. I just don't think it's a norm. Like I said, the media pushes it out more than anything else, and that's why we think it's a norm, because it's in our face. It's our perception. It's what we're looking at every day.
Well, we see the protests, too. People are speaking out against it. People are making their voices known. These activists, Black Lives Matter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the media has to cover it because it's in their face.
Yeah, no, they have to cover it. They just don't have to cover it as much as they do. They could cover multiracial police brutality cases, but they're only covering the stuff that's going to be appealing to the media.
So do you think that do you think police brutality against blacks is less prevalent than against whites? Do you think it happens more in the white and it's not being covered?
No. So I'm not saying that. So I know for a fact that you're being, if anyone's a black skin pigmentation, that they're more likely to get shot by the cops statistically. But I link that to the music as well. I link that to the idea that, or not the idea, the promotion of this music that's saying fuck the police. The promotion of the music that says, hey, you got to stay strapped and you got to hang out with all your dudes and you got to sell drugs. And this idea of criminal behavior and gang violence, maybe the cops, maybe just by chance, the cops are looking at that. Maybe they're in the media themselves a little bit, or maybe they're listening to the music. And so when they come up to a black individual, and it's undeniable that black individuals predominantly listen to black music as well as white individuals listen to it just as well, but maybe they're not influenced as much. I don't know.
No, they're not scared of them because they're white. They're not scared of them because they're white. But, you know, the statistics show that white people are more likelihood to shoot up a school than blacks.
Oh, no. That is the issue. That is the issue that also I'm going to make a video on because I don't support it. There's issues between both cultures. Everyone just throws a fit when a white man talks about black cultural issues.
Because I think that they can't see how a white male can talk about a black experience. I think that's the issue. And because I had someone tell me today, Scott, they said, listen, there are definitely issues in the black community. I think all of us here believe that. But the issue is that when a white guy who says there's no such thing as white privilege tells us what's going on in our community, that shows that you don't understand what it is to be black in America because you're saying that you don't see the white privilege that we experience daily. So I think that's the issue.
The white privilege is just an idea. It's a mindset.
It's not an idea. Trust me. It's not an idea.
I mean, I can trust you, and you can say that, but I'm still sticking to my opinion. I agree.
Because that's not your. Because you know why you can say that though? Because it's not your experience. You don't know what it is to be a black male in America, so you can't say what we're saying is wrong. Because you don't know. You don't. That's not your experience. It's like I couldn't tell you like what it is to be a white man. You understand what I'm saying? I think that's the challenge here.
You could comment on the statistics. You know what? You can actually say that these mass shootings that are happening within the white population are a problem. I don't know if you have an answer to them because I don't have an answer to them yet, but you can say they are a problem. You can come up with a hypothesis. I'm not against that. I'm not going to base your opinion as false just because of your skin color. I'm not going to do that. I feel like everyone should have a right to speak their opinion. It's our
Absolutely. I agree with that. I agree. Yeah. I agree everyone should.
Steven, I just have something really quickly.
Okay.
I think when you were talking about how people were reacting to the video, it's because it's a common, I said it before, but I'll repeat it again, it's a common rhetoric. I've heard every single, without the rap music, I've heard every statistic. Pretty much the whole video that Scott made was verbatim from a video that Ben Shapiro did. And he spends time probably reading the Daily Wire. The difference between Scott and Ben, and this is in no way attack, is that he's a highly intelligent Harvard law grad and lawyer.
Absolutely.
So he can disguise his racism as a conservative opinion. And then there are people that follow him that, you know, attempt to replicate that. Perhaps they want the appearances. I would love to get paid to go and give these ignorant opinions, give my ignorant opinions that probably should never be shared with anyone outside of myself and get paid for it. Who wouldn't want to do that? I would love to get paid tens of thousands of dollars to go and be ignorant. But it's damaging to our society.
All right, continue. All right. No, you say Ben Shapiro hides, he masquerades his racism with his intelligence, but that's not true. Ben Shapiro, you can watch any of his stuff. He's not racist. He's tackling social issues. Granted, some of them are based on certain ethnic groups, but he's not racist. I mean, did Ben ever say he was superior than any other race or one race was superior than another race? No, he was just tackling an issue. He was being a good American. He is being a good American by talking about these issues. We need to not be afraid to talk about these issues. The reason people listen to Ben is because no one wants to hear a white man, or no one wants to hear him, so that's why it makes it appealing. No one wants to hear a white man talk about these kind of issues because he's white, you know? So that's what makes him so popular, and that's what feeds his wealth.
But how can you fully speak on an experience if you've never lived it? How can you? That's like me saying, "Oh, I love South Africa. It's a beautiful place, and I've never been there." How can I speak on that? You know what I'm saying? How can I speak on a culture that I can do research, but there's a difference. Like, I went to Hawaii this year, right? I've seen pictures of Hawaii. It looked beautiful, but I didn't know what a true being in Hawaii experience and soaking that up until I got there. But the thing is, you'll never be a black man to know what it feels like to be a black man, and to know when we say that there is white privilege, there is. I mean,
we live in a world where the world of knowledge is right at our fingertips. With enough research, you could pretty much find out anything nowadays.
No, you can't. You cannot. I cannot tell you about being a white man in America, just as you can't tell me being a black man in America.
No, you can't tell me specifically what my experiences are as a white man
right.
specifically, but I'm sure you have an opinion on these mass shootings that have been happening from white individuals. Do you have an opinion on it? Can you come to?
I have an opinion, but I'm not gonna. I cannot. I wouldn't make a video talking. Well, I wouldn't, because I feel like I'd be looking ignorant, because I don't. That's not my experience. I've never been a white man. I'm never gonna be a white man.
You might make a lot of views on that if you just.
But my thing is, that was the problem with.
You guys assume so far is that my opinion is discredited just because of my skin pigmentation, and you're discrediting individuals.
Well, when you're saying that things don't exist that do exist, that's why it's discredited. You're saying white privilege doesn't. You're saying white privilege doesn't exist when it does exist. No, that's why it's discredited for me.
There's racist, but there's no privilege in skin pigmentation. There's privilege in money. There's privilege in power. But just because someone's skin is white, and you may think people look at them differently, or maybe you've had a personal experience of racism.
It's not just one experience. It's not one experience. Let me ask you this: so why has it been since the beginning of time, for the most part in this country, the people who have run the country have all been white? Why?
Well, okay, so to tackle that question, it's because there was racism. Our government was 100% like white for a good amount of time, but that's changed. My point now is that's changed, and we need to make corrections.
So you don't think it trickles down? It doesn't trickle down. So you think it just all goes away?
There is trickle effects, and I mentioned that earlier. You mentioned one of your employers or something like that when it hired a black man based on his look. I accept that. I don't think it's the norm, but I accept that. But the only way to start fighting this is to stop promoting this behavior within the music. That's one of the there's many variables.
I have a different opinion. We need to have productive conversations.
Yeah.
Having a conversation about how rap music is damaging the community is an opinion, but what are you doing to help the community? Or what are you doing to help? Or what is not even what are you doing to help? Because that's not your responsibility to help another community.
As an American, it is. But go on. We all help each other.
Well, and this is a complete assumption that you're not doing anything to help the black community. It's just.
Well, we can't force them to do anything. That's the thing. We can't force individuals to do, but we can influence them. We can spit out knowledge. We can give out ideas, and we can have free debate just like this to help influence the population. That's what we can do, and that's what I have done. But I'm getting a lot of backlash because of actual racism, because people want to discredit me because of my skin color.
Well, we can't be racist. We can't be racist.
Don't
whoa.
Don't
How
take
does that
the
make
victim.
sense? Anyone could be racist.
No, we don't have the power to be racist.
No, everyone has the power to be racist. It's an idea. It's an ideology. You can be racist whenever you could judge me based on my skin color right now. Bam.
That'd be a prejudice.
Prejudice and racism.
That's prejudice.
No, on my skin color. You can judge me based on my skin color, my culture.
Okay, but right. I think that you definitely need to, if this is the approach you're taking, because if you're taking the intent, we can improve the community by having a healthy debate, that's fine, but I just cannot see how it's a positive outcome if you're constantly telling a certain group, a certain class of people that you have tons of unmarried women. You have people that are in jail, and your children are violent, and they're not having good education.
When we come back, more of our discussion on race relations with Scott and Savage. Right back after this.
get up, living this way. That's why I'm packing my suitcase. I'm only taking what I need. The world is waiting for me. I won't sit home any longer. Since I've dying of hunger, and I should be making a difference. I know I'm telling the truth. Wasted potential is the death of many. Yet there's plenty of dead men who live, 'cause their words live on, though they've been long gone. Yes, I know I wanna be like them. I've got places to be. I've got to see. Let's get along. It's time to go. What we waiting for? We waiting for. Out to my suitcase. Kicking out my suitcase. State to state. I'm going state to state. Country to country. Out to my suitcase. Living out to my suitcase. I'm gonna make a difference. Not gonna walk in ignorance. Make the world listen. I'ma leave an imprint. Yes, they gon' know I'm here. The world is gonna be my stage. And when I'm long gone, they gon' talk about me. They gon' read about me. I'm gon' leave a legacy. A legacy. Yes, you and me gon' make history. Wasted potential is the death of many. Yet there's plenty of dead men who live, 'cause their words live on, though they've been long gone. Yes, I know I wanna be like them. I've got places to be. Come on and get your stuff. Let's hit the road. It's time to go. Let's hit the road. I'm gonna be living out to my suitcase. Cities, state to state, country to country. Spelling the hay, if that's what it takes. That's what it takes. Out to my suitcase. Let's change the world for every boy and girl. Let's lend a hand. Let's take a stand. When facing fears, they'll disappear. Let's change the world for every boy and girl. Let's lend a hand. Let's take a stand. When facing fears, they'll disappear. They'll disappear. I got places to be. Let's hit the road. It's time to go. What we waiting for? I'm gonna be living out to my suitcase. Country to country. Spelling the hay, if that's what it takes. I'm living out to my suitcase. Places to be, things to see. I got places to be. It's time to go. What we waiting for? I'm gonna be living out to my suitcase. City to city, state to state, country to country. Spelling the hay, if that's what it takes. I'm living out to my suitcase. If you believe in your dream, won't you sing and say, out to my suitcase. If you believe in your dream, out to my suitcase.
I'ma live for this Nirvana. I'ma rap for this Nirvana. I'm so down for this Nirvana. I'ma count for this Nirvana. I'm killing this Nirvana. I'm drilling this Nirvana. I'ma rap for this Nirvana. I'ma stop for this Nirvana. My gang know how I roll.
be solar loaded. My ride be solar floating. I dream of being gifted, dodging the penitentiary. They say that I'm a villain, no murder case I ain't killing. They don't know how I roll. Obstacles kicking on. Trap door steady open. Robbing, banging, and smoking. I'm posting up, then coasting. I'm pouring steady Loki. Mary Jane, just bearing all my pain. You think I ain't gon' ride, nigga, you must be insane. Dumb on no, I ain't joking. The mission is in motion. I'ma live for this Nirvana. I'ma ride for this Nirvana. I'm so down for this Nirvana. I'ma clown for this Nirvana. Killing this Nirvana. I'm drilling this Nirvana. I'm a rap for this Nirvana. I'm a slap for this Nirvana. What up, sir? With my homies on the curb, yeah. Sent my last to my homie locked down, yeah. See men die with my eyes, yeah. And the good die young, that's truth, yeah. All my fam ride for the same thing. Make it to the top, dodge that chain gang. 10 years in the streets, I done seen things. 6 times been in jail, I done heard things. Real recognize real, that's the truth, yeah. Fake recognize fake, that's proof, yeah. My bros, they ride or die. I know they real, alright. Gang, 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 all they speak of. Bang, 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 bring tears, cause I'm gonna live tonight. I'm gonna slide. I'ma live for this Nirvana. I'ma ride for this Nirvana. I'm so down for this Nirvana. I'm a clown for this Nirvana. I'm killing this Nirvana. I'm drilling this Nirvana. I'm a rap for this Nirvana. I'm a slap for this Nirvana. 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 Nirvana.
All right, what's going on, y'all? This is Ricardo Grim Hot in the airwaves. Right now, you listening to the Stephen Knight Show. Hey, don't go to sleep without saying your prayer.
Here's part 4 and the final part of our conversation on race relationships with Scott and Savage.
How is repeating that productive?
How is that productive? Because to solve a problem, we have to find the source of the problems. And I link the source of the problem to its root, which I believe is the family. When we have single parenthood ratings upwards of 70%, higher than any other ethnic group, you watch my video, you have kids that have disorders. And then when you have kids that have disorders and everyone's listening to this music promoting this unwanted civil behavior, then you create a downward spiral. I mean, 20 times more likely to have behavior disorders. You're 20 times more likely to end up in jail this all happens when you are raised from a single parent without a father. 9 times more likely to drop out of school. 5 times more likely to be poor. So with these factors and the objectification within music, you can see why single parenthood is happening more often, because it's being promoted by the community itself, when I feel like it shouldn't. You go listen to a country song, you're not going to hear this kind of promotion. On average, 51% or up, you're going to hear about stories about people falling in love, raising a family. That's what you're going to hear with country music.
What about rock and roll?
No, even
what about rock and roll? I'm sorry.
There is songs. There is songs. You can quote some songs, but I said the majority of the time you're going to hear it. Go on.
What were you saying, Savage?
I was just saying that if you listen to country music, you're going to hear misogyny. You're going to hear people. You're going to hear strong language in those songs as well.
But not within
And
95% of all the songs.
The argument.
But you don't hear. You don't hear.
No,
No,
this
I can pull up the
argument
top
has
Billboard
been
right now.
debunked. This argument has been debunked time over time with actual research. Looking at children that are listening to this music and looking at their behaviors, and you're
There's
not
no way to
quoting any
quantify.
of that.
There's no way
You're
to
not
actually
quoting
quantify
any of
that. I mean, that's impossible.
Well, I grew up listening to rap music, and I've come out pretty well. I'm educated.
Okay, and that's good. And that's good. But you're not everyone.
But most of my friends, we all grew up the same way, and we're doing very well for us.
Hang out with a lot of exceptional people, and that's good for you. But that's not the norm. I mean, I live in a neighborhood, and I did not grow up with exceptional people, and I see it with the black community and the white community, both. But I made a topic specifically on the black community because I knew it would get attention.
Fair enough.
Listen, we can all agree on that. This is all.
Well, it definitely got attention.
Off of YouTube, and that we can agree on. It's not to help any community. It's not to have a healthy debate. It's solely for clickbait and to continue this argument. And to quote
if I want to spread my message, if I use tact, not recklessness, if I use tact in my way of spreading my message and that gets more attention to spread my message more, that's not just clickbait. That's just me being good at making videos.
This is not an original message. You
what it
original.
What it reminds me of,
you literally said not too long ago that you've never heard the music part of my debate. So I guess that is pretty original. I mean,
That's false. I heard your entire debate.
You said this earlier. You said this earlier that you didn't hear the music little branch off that I did, and that's specific to me. Granted, the data's out there, and people talk about the data. I linked it to the music. So how are you saying that's not original? Sorry if I'm a little loud.
Your entire argument is unoriginal. If you Google rap
that means that for
violence, there are tons of hits because people have been talking about this since rap music came out. Why? Because it is another form of racism.
Okay, so then why
because the majority of rappers are black people.
A million views right now. I just
because
explained
there
that
are so many people on Facebook that are ignorant that have the exact same opinion as you. That's
whoa, no, because it's a mix. It's mixed, and I have plenty of messages in my inbox right now supporting my claim. It's a difference of opinion here. I base my stuff on facts. I have the most logical.
There are no facts in your argument.
No, there is facts. I literally just mentioned fathers, parents. I mentioned the statistics just a second ago. Upwards of 70% single parenthood rating. Children that don't grow up with their fathers, 25 times.
Where are you quoting these from? Where are you getting your statistics?
I got my
BenShapiro.com.
Sorry, let me grab the paper. And then you can also look at the FBI Census Table 21 if you want a big bulk of my data. I have that up right now. If you don't want to trust that data, you don't have to.
Is the FBI in the business of doing census collection?
Yes.
Or did you find
the FBI has its own thing. I have it up right here right now.
The FBI has more important things to do than to do research on who's unmarried and who's listening to rap music. Seriously.
No, I didn't say they're doing research on who listens to rap music. I'm saying they're doing research on what's the crime at this current rate, what's happening currently in America when it comes to crime rates, and what specific crimes which race is related to. And maybe it's because of a safety thing. Maybe it's because knowledge is power. I don't know. But
there's a correlation between rap music. I just want to make sure I heard this correct. There's a correlation between rap music and African American people on the FBI's website.
No, I never said that. I said that's my own take. I took the data from the crime report from the FBI, 2016 United States Crime Report, Census Table 21. I took that data and looked at the murder and non-negligent manslaughter data and looked at how disproportionate it was to the population compared to every other ethnic group. And I said, hey, there's a problem here. And you know what? I looked at music and I say, hey, the music's promoting this kind of behavior. So I linked them together. Like, where is the fallacy in my logic right there?
If you turn that paper in, you will get an F because that logic is seriously flawed. Yes.
No, that logic is actually pretty sound. I mean, I get B pluses on my papers and up.
I'm sure you do. I got A pluses, and that's because I actually did the research and I actually looked at different opinions, and I actually had
now maybe it's just because I'm not good at I'm not the grammatical I'm not the best at grammar sometimes. Yeah.
Well, I think it is dangerous to say that rap music. And listen, like I said, we've all said on the show that the black community has its own issues that they have to work through. And I do think there are a lot of people that are helping in that change. But things with broken, yes, and there aren't exactly, but they're broken homes and all that. That came before rap music. That came before. So I think what the deeper issue is not necessarily the music. It's the generational issues that our culture experiences. And again,
the after effects of real systemic racism, the after effects that's still happening today.
But it still happens though. It still happens.
Nothing legally is happening. Nothing we can pull up from the government website that's legally holding.
Well, do you think? Well, I don't think racism is legal. So you think they're going to have a legal report about the number of instances that happens?
No, and racism happens on a case-by-case scenario with individuals. It's not the government. There's nothing in the government. I worked for the government for 4 years.
I worked for the government too. I worked for the government for 4 years as well.
Okay, there's nothing in our government right now holding anyone back. It's honestly a real equal opportunity area when it comes to.
Well, do you look at the disproportion of people in jail? Because we can go back. You mentioned in your video about drug use in America. There was the American Addiction Center reported from. This is from a report from 2013 that 8.5% of whites are addicted to drugs, where 7.4% addicted to blacks. Now, the drug epidemic really hit in the 70s and 80s, right?
Yeah.
Black people, when we got on drugs, we were put in jail. White people, when they got in drugs, they were put in rehab. It didn't become, it was a, war against drugs when black people were doing it. When white people did it, it was like, okay, just a health crisis. So the way that things are handled, do you see how it's not the music? I'm not saying that the music necessarily helps, but I don't think that the issues that you mentioned in your video has to do with the music. This is things that were happening before the music even happened.
Well, your statement is that you don't give any of these issues any relation to the music problem that I mentioned. You don't think it's in any.
No, I said I'm not necessarily saying it helps. I'm not saying it helps, but I don't think we cannot attribute the issues in the black community that you referenced in your video to music. I don't think we can.
Like some of the issues, and I didn't give it a majority. I didn't say this is the only reason.
Well, you said most of the issues. That's what you said in your video.
51% are up, and it could be anywhere in between.
Okay.
But where were we then? We were talking. Oh, so the generational racism. That's what we were talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I said before, I do not deny the fact that there is still some lingering effects, after effects of real systemic racism, real implementation within our government that kept black people down. But this idea that we're kept down right now with no real proof besides individual cases of individual people being racist is not a productive method of running this country or solving this problem. The biggest barrier holding people back is believing that you are a victim, believing you do not have the capability to do something based on your skin color. That is a huge barrier holding the black community back right now, and I want to correct that because I believe in true equality. And
do you believe our president's a racist?
I believe
in 2018.
So when it comes to President Donald Trump, I support him due to the fact that he's a Republican,
right?
Not a Democrat. But
do you think he's a racist?
Well, no, I don't know for a fact if he's a racist or not, so I can't say he's a racist.
Do you think based on what's been put out there and some of his the things that come out of his mouth, do you think he's racist? Would you say this? Would you say that he's and you don't know him, we don't know him, but based on what you see, would you say he's not a racist?
I would say the data is not conclusive enough, but when it comes to him being a president, my belief, my hope would be that he isn't a racist. But we can't know that unless we have exact proof. And him wanting to secure our borders to protect citizens in America, that is not racist.
Oh no! They call President Obama deported more people than anybody. It was the way he did it.
Exactly.
But it's the way he did it, though.
Highlight Trump for doing it. Everyone wants to highlight.
He didn't break up families. He didn't have kids in cages.
Well, I mean, we have an issue where we have to spend money on breaking up these families and taking the children are separated. I mean, it's a really
that would not have happened if he didn't pass that bill, and he could have changed it by simply making a call, and he did not. He was going on what he wanted to promote, and he was trying to use this as a scare tactic to keep people from coming into this country.
Well, no, maybe it's a tactic to stop human trafficking, because within in regards to our U.S.-Mexico border, we have individuals that are trafficking children based on the sole fact that they think they're going to get.
But not all of them were, and that's how they were treated. Like all of them were doing that. All of them were not doing that. He was breaking up families, taking children's infants. They were taking infants away from their mothers, putting them in cages.
Okay, and maybe
we're getting off topic.
Oh, sorry.
Well, yeah, maybe in some cases, but you want to revert back to the.
Yeah, we can revert back. I'm sorry, but no. But I'm just saying the reason why I asked you about Trump being, if you thought he was racist or not, and again, we don't know him personally, but I think his character has shown itself. The reason why I think that back when President Obama was president, it was easy for people to believe that things from a race perspective or even white privilege, even though it still existed, even from that perspective, things were getting better. But in my opinion, once we hired a racist who the white supremacists and white nationalists supported during the campaign, once he was in place, we start seeing more and more cases of where racist white Americans, prejudiced white Americans, whatever, they start coming out out of everywhere. And that's what we start getting.
Trump doesn't support these white.
Does he speak against it?
These white supremacists.
Does he speak against it?
Said that. Yeah, no, he's openly said he does not. He's not affiliated with them. He can't help that random people give him money and they might be affiliated with the KKK or white.
He can't help that. He can say, no, I don't want your money.
When it's random and not tracked, he can't help that. It happens.
David Duke?
Big thing on the news. What was that?
David Duke?
David Duke, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So what's that?
Didn't he endorse him? And he accepted the endorsement?
I mean, I'm sure if he endorsed him and he was affiliated with these associations that we were talking about or these groups that we were talking about, I'm pretty sure he probably denounced them. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't have this.
Well, what happened in South Carolina when he said that Virginia, when he said there were good people on both sides? When we had people with KKK and hoods walking the streets. People on both sides.
Okay, no, that statement is true. There is good people on both sides. There is shitty people on both sides.
People with KKK and affiliation, there's good sides?
No. So when he said on both sides, you said he said on both sides. So what he's talking about is ethnic groups. I'm assuming he's talking about ethnic groups. So there is good people on let's say the white side. There's good people on the black side.
No, it wasn't the white side. Listen, no. Because the woman that was killed was white. And she was on the Black Lives Matter side, right? I'm talking about they were protesting the people that were walking in KKK hoods, and the white nationalists. That was one side, and then you had the people who supported Black Lives Matter from all different walks of life. He said there were good people on both sides. So I'm trying to say what good side was the KKK on? Who came out that good side?
I don't know what his exact.
That's what he said.
No, I don't know his exact point of view. Maybe.
Well, I just told you.
All his KKK members. Maybe he had a different perception than what you saw in the media. But at the end of the day, there is good people on both sides. So I don't know. I would have to look more into that specific example. But there's probably exceptions to it. But maybe he is a racist. Maybe he isn't. I'm not denying the fact that he might be one or he might not be one. But at the end of the day, I support him as a president because I have no definite proof.
Okay, but so my point to why I asked you if you thought he was or wasn't, I think he is, right? And again, I don't know him either, but based on what he's shown us, it trickles down from the top. And so where things made it seem like they was getting better when Barack Obama was we elected a black president, 2 terms? The economy is doing well because it didn't just start with Trump. It was doing well under Obama. That's where people were getting more comfortable. But what happens was when he became president and when he gave a voice to white nationalists and white supremacists, that's why we can see things have not gotten that much better.
So do you really think he personally gave them a voice, or they?
Oh my God! Yeah.
No, he gave them. You're saying Trump specifically gave.
He showed him it was okay. He showed him it was okay.
Did he?
Because he did it.
Okay,
He came out when he announced it when he was running. When he announced he was running, he called Mexicans rapists and murderers.
No, he called some Mexicans racist and murderers. He called MS-13 animals, like people that are actually animals, people whose motto is to rape, kill, and murder, etc. He called them animals, and I'm okay with that. To be honest, I think they're less than animals. People that are willing to live their lifestyle.
He said Mexico was sending over the worst of the people. So you mean to tell me everyone that was fleeing that country coming here was the worst of the people?
No. So that's a common misconception. So he was saying that Mexico, the people that are coming over from Mexico illegally, are coming over, and they're coming over illegally, and they're related to the cartel. Mexico is ran by the cartel, 100% ran by the cartel. So when people come with illegal immigration through underground railroads, quotations, they're bringing drugs. They're sex trafficking. They're trafficking children into our nation. And then on top of that, these people that are coming into our nation illegally are working under the table for people, destroying American jobs, destroying the possibility for other Americans as citizens, regardless of race, to have jobs, because these people are willing to work under the table because these employers know that they can take advantage of these people because they're not legal. So
how come he didn't speak against people that are coming to this country from predominantly white countries? How come he didn't speak negatively about them?
I love that you say that, because we don't have our illegal drugs that are coming into this nation, which are from the cartel. A majority of them are from the cartel.
Ooh, they come from Russia too.
Thank you.
No. Where heroin come from?
No. Wait. The majority of our drugs that we're getting right now are coming through the U.S.-Mexico border. In my opinion, they're coming through the U.S.-Mexico border, and that's why we have such a big issue. If Canadians were overstaying their visas, if Canadians were smuggling mass amounts of drugs, we would enforce our Canadian border. It's not a race issue. It's not a race system.
It's the color of their skin.
It's the issue of where the problems are coming from. So, like I said, if Canada was doing it, we would enforce it. If MS-13 was coming through our U.S.-Canadian border, we would probably enforce it a little bit more. But they're not. That's the factor. They're not. It's not a race thing. It's a issue thing. It's a drug thing. It's a gang activity thing.
All right. Well, I'm gonna leave it there. I want us, before we leave, to just do one last, your closing remark. I do thank you, Scott, for coming on and pleading your case and representing your video and it's a difficult conversation to have, but I'm glad we're able to have it. I'll let you, Scott, lead off with your closing remarks for this conversation.
Oh yeah, so I thought both of you were extremely respectful. I really enjoy engaging in peaceful debate like this. This is how we hash out issues within our culture, how we all get along, and how we find true equality, in my opinion, regardless if you want to believe that or not, regardless. So, thanks for having me on. If you guys want to watch my content, Facebook, Scott Rhodes. I'm on all the time. Send me a direct message if you have something you want to say. And, thanks for having me on.
All right. Savage?
Steven, thank you for inviting me. Scott, thanks for coming on to have the debate. I just want to say I hope that the listeners of this show, as well as the viewers of Scott's videos, will do their own research and will thoroughly look at what the issues are that are plaguing the Black community before drawing a conclusion, such as rap music is the cause of it all, because it's not productive. I do encourage people to go out and volunteer. I encourage not only Black people, but people of other races to mentor young Black children or to volunteer in those communities, since it is, in certain people's opinions, damaging our country. And I hope that people can just lead with love more and try to cut down on the ignorant rhetoric as much as possible. But, please check me out as well as my co-host, Ty, on the Articulate Podcast every Thursday. That's it.
All right. Well, listen, I got a lot of flack tonight for wanting to have this conversation, but I think it's an important conversation to have because Scott, Savage, and myself, we all represent different parts of this country, different ways of thinking, and I think it's easy to stay in your own corner and not want to talk to the next side or vice versa. But I don't think that we're not get any progress if we don't have these conversations. And we can have these conversations, and I don't hate Scott. Scott doesn't hate me. We don't hate Savage. Savage doesn't hate us. But we can have a conversation, and hopefully we learn from each other. But I want to thank Scott and Savage again for joining us tonight. And have a good night. We'll be right back after this.
Your love is showing me my path. My heart belongs in your grasp. I only see you underneath your light. I can't survive without your kiss. My life dripping from your lips. I'm nowhere if I'm not by your side. It feels like time slows down, and every breath is getting longer. I feel my heart sinking to the ground, and every weakness is getting stronger. And as I'm falling, I can feel you lift me up underneath your wings. And it's every touch how you take my love and bring it back to life. You bring it back to life. I feel your fire burn underneath my skin. And it's every touch how you take my love and bring it back to life. You bring it back to life. And I'm breathing in every single sound you make. I can feel your words all in the air. With your voice making my heart beat. If your soul is all I see, it's like the rest of the world is not there. It feels like time slows down, and every breath is getting longer. I feel my heart sinking to the ground, and every weakness is getting stronger. And as I'm falling, I can feel you lift me up underneath your wings. And it's every touch how you take my love and bring it back to life. You bring it back to life. I feel your fire burn underneath my skin. And it's every touch how you take my love and bring it back to life. You bring it back to life. And as I'm falling down, I feel you lift me up underneath your wings. And it's every touch how you take my love and bring it back to life. You bring it back to life. I feel your fire burn underneath my skin. And it's every touch how you take my love and bring it back to life. You bring it back to life.
Why you keep loving me wrong? I'm tired and I'm moving on. You feel me, no, I'm like a bum. Stop loving me wrong. Why you keep loving me wrong? I'm tired and I'm moving on. You feel me, no, I'm like a bum. Stop loving me. I was with you but living a lie. I was giving you life. You were loving me wrong for a while. Cheating but standing in aisle. You're loving me wrong, you're loving me fake. Stop filling my head and filling my tank. Ain't I was so dumb to stay in the fence, cause I was so lost and stuck in your maze. Stuck in the sex, was stuck in the love. I let you dishonor my name and my love. I let you dishonor my pride like a fool. Denying myself just so I could choose you. I was with you but living a lie. loving me wrong. You're leading me on. You gotta stop loving me. Stop loving me wrong. You're loving me wrong. You're leading me on. You gotta stop loving me. Stop loving me wrong. Fake and foul and wasted out. I can, I will, I won't allow you to change my soul or change my sound. So carry the bed that you slept around. You crept around when there's no doubt. STDs distributed out. You sold me a novel, then wrote me out. I cannot, I will not, I won't allow. Why you keep loving me wrong? I'm tired, so I'm moving on. You feel me? No, I'm like a bomb. Stop loving me wrong. Why you keep loving me fake? I've been wrote you off, you're fucking replaced. And this is the end of the song for the fake. Stop loving the ones who will love you. I was with you, but living a lie. I was giving you life. Yeah. You were loving me wrong for a while. You were cheating, but staying in denial. You gotta stop loving me.
Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Chike, how's it going?
Brother, how are you?
I cannot complain. Did you hear that discussion panel?
Listen, we're going to disrupt some things tonight.
Oh, my God.
Some things are going to get disrupted.
Right.
But it needs to happen.
I agree.
The conversation needs to happen.
I agree. I think, Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say the longer that we continue to sweep things under the rug, the lump is only going to get bigger.
Right.
This is why we are in the predicament that we're in now with, this leader that we have, is because we're not willing to put all of our dirty laundry out there.
Right.
And I'm all for understanding other people's differences and respect you from afar. Doesn't mean that I have to hate you or dislike you, or I can still work with you probably, because I'm sure that I do work with some people like that. But, and this kind of leads into the film that I saw.
Okay.
But this conversation needs to happen.
I agree.
That's where I'm at.
I agree. And the thing was, people were saying to me, why are you bringing this racist on your show? I didn't believe he was racist. I believe he was just ignorant. I didn't believe he was racist. And, some of the things that he said were actually true. But I think it wasn't his place as a white guy to tell us what's wrong with our community. You know what I'm saying? And so, that was the biggest disconnect. And he tried to blame it all on music, rap music, and that's not true. Like I told him, the number one buyer of rap music are white people. So if that's your theory, how come white people aren't doing these things that you're accusing the black community of doing? But it was a very interesting interview, and I did respect the fact that he did come on. He was very polite. He felt the way he felt. And, and I don't hate him. He doesn't hate me or Savage, but it was a conversation, because a lot of people unfortunately think that kind of way. And so, like you said, we have to have these conversations, because if we continue to stay in our different ends of the ring, like in a boxing match, nothing's ever going to be addressed, and nothing's going to come from it. So that's why I thought it was important to have him on there. Someone who made a video that got over 1 million views, and there are people on both sides, black and white, who agreed and disagreed with him. So I thought it was a good conversation to have, an important conversation to have,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm on my tangent.
I can't wait.
Well, what did you get to see? Well, first of all, how was your weekend?
Weekend was awesome.
Okay.
Actually had a first date this weekend.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to get back out there.
Did it go good?
Stuff. Yeah, it was very good.
Good.
There will be probably a second and a third.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll talk offline.
So I went to go see I went to go see the film Sorry to Bother You, which stars Lakeith Stanfield, Teresa Thompson, Danny Glover, Amari Hardwick, Terry Crews, Armie Hammer, Jermaine Fowler, and Patton Oswalt. I have to first off say that this film was released in July, and it didn't come on my radar because I didn't know anything about it until I was watching The Breakfast Club.
Okay.
And its director, Boots Riley, and creator Boots Riley was on there discussing the movie with Lakeith Stanfield and Omari Hardwick, and they were just talking about the subject matter of the movie, and it just became more intriguing to me. And when they topped it off, they said that, well, they tried to put the movie in a category. And they said, is it a comedy? And he said, yes. Is it a horror story? Yes. And he said, and then it's science fiction. So I was like, I'm all down.
Yeah.
I have to see it. That's all these things. And I have to say that it was very clever and brilliantly done. And I will say this, if you go see the movie, or maybe if you've seen it already, some people have walked away from the movie saying that they didn't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie does require for you to be a little woke. You have to, I've been telling all my friends when they asked me about the movie, so I said, it reminds you of Get Out a little bit, but this would probably be, if Get Out turns into a series, this would probably be the third installment.
Okay.
And then somewhere in between, you have to get woke in order to understand it. Get Out was the waking up. There's a missing movie, and then this movie happens. So basically, are you aware of what code switching is?
No, what's that?
So basically, code switching is the airs and the falsity that we put on sometimes to associate or assimilate ourselves with white people.
Okay.
So, some people, they change their voice and it becomes really proper.
It's our work voice. Yeah.
Yes, the work voice and the telephone voice.
Right.
So that is code switching, but it goes to different degrees.
Okay.
So I'll tell you this. In the movie, Lakeith Stanfield is a telemarketer, so he's basically a salesman. And he's not having any luck. So he has to code switch in order to start making money. And he learns how to, but then he learns how to, and he perfects it to the point where he goes to the higher level. I'm going to leave the higher level of mystery because I want you to see the film.
Right, yeah.
And some people, like in this movie, code switch so much to the point that that's their normal.
Yeah, it's true.
It's hard for them to relate to their own people because they've code switched to the point where they've become stuck.
Especially back in the day. I remember this movie, Good Fences, I think it's called. It was with Whoopi Goldberg and Danny Glover. And it was like based in the 60s and 70s, I guess. And so Danny Glover, they were married. Danny Glover was an attorney, and his goal was to get out the hood, right? And he moved into this big, rich neighborhood, and he did not want to associate with black people. Monique is in the movie. She has.
I do remember.
Remember that? Remember she moved to the neighborhood because she won the lottery,
well.
And he didn't want to be associated. He had to act a certain way. He wanted Whoopi to be on the school board.
That
was really good. I just saw it one day. I was at a friend's house and it came on. And I was like, "Oh, what's this?" Because we love Whoopi, we love Danny. It was so good. It was so good. But would that be an example of code switching?
That's a great example of code switching.
Yeah.
But to the point where it's present day. In the 70s, it was a little different because people were striving.
Yeah, it had to be.
It was that whole Jefferson's era moving on up.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now it's not quite the same attack of it.
Right.
So it's done differently, and people are doing it, especially with social media being a component.
Yeah.
I can't tell you but so much about this movie because I want you to really go see it. It's so underrated. It's not on the radar. It's not getting great publicity. But I think this is going to be one of those films that's going to be a cult classic.
Okay.
Because I think people are going to be late to it. They're going to see it on cable, and then they're going to be like, "That's my new favorite."
Wow.
And I will say this: I laughed. There were moments when I jumped, and I did see the science fiction part clearly. Like, yeah.
Wow.
Check this movie out. I'll give it 2.
You give it 2 thumbs up. Are you there?
2 thumbs up.
There we go.
2 thumbs up.
Oh, good. Thought we lost you. Well, I'm very proud of myself. I've been trying to find ways of cutting costs, right? And so, I had a cable provider. And I was like, this bill is just getting higher and higher every time I turn around. You know what I mean? It was like, I'm paying $180 for, I have a phone, internet, and cable, right? I did not know I heard about them, like the slings and the PlayStation, was it Evo? I've heard of all those things. When I tell you, I did my research. I went to CNET.com to do the research, which is the best one. And I'm only paying $34 a month, and I got all the channels I need. I got rid of my cable. Yeah. I got rid of it. I remember Adam had done it years ago, but I was like, I need cable. But I'm telling you.
I can do you one better. I can do you one better. So I moved over to the Fire Stick.
Yeah, I got a
And of course I had one of my buddies jailbreak the Fire Stick for me.
One of mine did this weekend.
Jailbroken, and I ordered my Amazon service.
Yep.
And because I work through a university hospital, I can go in under student because it's part of academia.
Yeah.
And I do the student, and it's only, I think it's like $49 per year.
Yeah, you can't beat.
That's all I pay for my television service. I mean, streaming, and I get everything.
Everything.
I mean, you can order other things. I do order other things to add to
Right.
it. But you know,
but it's nothing. It's not 180. Right.
Right. No, nowhere near.
And you know, I remember the reason why I didn't do it before was because, you know, I love my DVR. But now they have DVR, and now you can click on any show and on some of these services and go watch the whole season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't need DVR. I'm glad someone put me on the game, because I'm saving a lot monthly now, you know, because of that. But definitely look at your resources.
Advanced, you know, the whole Alexa comes with the whole service.
Yep.
They send me emails to my phone with things that I like. I love the whole preference thing.
Yep.
I love it.
I love it. Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Wow. All right. Well, what's coming out of the pipeline?
Well, for me, it's Mission Impossible, Fallout, and I still haven't seen The Equalizer. Sorry, Denzel, but I'm making my way.
Okay. Perfect. And it looked good. That was a good movie.
You would say that again?
That was good, the Denzel movie.
Oh, yeah. People are raving about it, but I have to see it myself. But, you know, like someone brought to my attention, Denzel has never done a sequel before. So
wow. That's true. I never thought about that.
Yeah, he's never done that before.
Okay. All right. Well, Chica, as always, thank you so much for keeping us in the know. And just, you know, everyone knows you anyway, but just shout out. Oh, I want to ask you a question before we go. What are your thoughts on our friends of the show, Faith Evans, marrying Stevie J?
Oh, man, do you know how many phone calls I got related to this lady? Fizzy. Big Fizzy from the Bricks.
You know, we didn't do hot topics today, so I want to ask Chica his thoughts, because, you know, he's introduced me to Faith and all that. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. That's my buddy. I love her dearly. Her and Stevie have known each other
a long time,
several years. Like they're the best of friends. To the point where when Faith got her first house, Stevie J put up the money for her to get her first house.
Oh wow!
Because she didn't have cash, so they just wasn't. He put it up for her. He loaned her the money to get her first house. That's how close they are, and he's the godfather of CJ,
right?
Biggie's son. From what I understand, they had dated in the past.
They did.
It didn't work out, and they went their separate ways. And I don't know what's going on now, but I will say this. I'm not saying that her relationship isn't real, but I think that it's more to it. They have a song coming out this week.
A song and video, yeah.
Song and a video. And I know for a fact that Faith has been in the company of Miss Mona Scott.
Everyone's saying that.
Is working on something. So I don't know if this is part of that. I can't speak to that, but I do know that it's more going on. It's more business tangled in here somehow.
Well, I know when it was, I saw it on the Shade Room. Someone put in the comments that Mona Scott's moonwalking to the networks for a new reality show. But I will say this: remember, I said a few months ago I saw Faith at a restaurant here in Buckhead, and I asked her. I said, "What are you doing in Atlanta?" She said, "Oh, me and Stevie just did a walkthrough." I didn't know if they're talking about a show or what. I didn't go into details, but so yeah, something's been brewing for a while. A lot of people think it's not real. They think it's for the song, it's for a reality show, but I don't know. I mean, she's been posting pictures, and she's been, you know, whatever they're doing.
If if they're playing that type of game, it's working because people are talking.
Oh, they are talking about it. And Faith said something the other day on Instagram. I think I saw it yesterday. She said, pretty much forget all those that didn't care what I was doing before 7, 17, 18. You know what I mean? Before I announced this marriage. Anyway, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I want her happy.
I do too. She's a great woman. Yeah. All right. Well, Chica, as always, thank you so much. Have a great week and talk next Monday, okay?
You too, brother.
All right. Right back after this.
write a whole song about how I hate you, about how you played me and led me to believe that you want me, but you just not ready. So I'll wait around for your ass, yeah, I'm crazy. But truth is I love you and I don't know why. It's probably the way you look me in my eyes. And you such a Pisces, yeah, you put me on. And you put me in my place when I'm too much. I need that just one time in my life, don't need no yes man. This one nigga in my life, he's fucking honest. I love him cause he's everything I wanted. I need that, I need that. Baby, I'm forgiving you. Can we move on? Can we try this? Cause I don't know what I'm gonna do without you. Maybe I can talk about the lack of communication. How often you make me feel unappreciated. How I could've been out tonight hanging with my girls, but I'm with your ass all night cause that's what I prefer. But truth is I love you and now I know why. It's the way your hands fit perfectly in mine. And you such a Pisces, yeah, you put me on. And you put me in my place when I'm too much. I need that just one time in my life, don't need no yes man. This one nigga in my life, he's fucking honest. I love him cause he's everything I wanted. I need that, I need that. Baby, I'm forgiving you. Can we move on? Can we try this? Cause I don't know what I'm gonna do without you. I need that, I need that. Baby, I'm forgiving you. Can we move on? Can we try this? Cause I don't know what I'm gonna do without you.
Chess move, NWA, go get it attitude. Have to do it big, big as Ice Cube, man. I done paid due. It's time for get back. I'm here to collect where the cheese at. Purchase selling dreams, dog. You can keep that. Cause when my stomach growling, I can't need that. Know where I'm from, all that talking won't cut it. With all that funny shit, you might as well be a muppet. We ain't on the same page, we ain't in the same subject. Cause I be like God, family, hustle, everything else. Money on my mind like a 5950. So I on my grind like it rich and die sleep. Running, all I know is get it. Ain't give none to me. Running, moving like a ninja. Let the hustle speak. And I put money on it. You wanna hustle, man? Swimming in this water, hey. Way it's too deep, hey. Way it's too real, dog. This ain't no movie. I wouldn't let nothing knock me on my 2 feet. I'm out to get my own piece of pocket. Me a goofy. Ouch, ain't giving handouts. So I stay hands on and let my grind stand out. Everywhere looking like I'm about to pull a band out. Clean, got the gal crusher, wanna throw they man out. You know they love a hustler. Love it when you're smoking like a muffalo. I came into this game for the juggalo. And I ain't cutting up. Money on my mind like a 5950. So I on my grind like it reached a 50. I pay you no mind if it's none of my business. Cause I spend all my time handling my business. That money on my mind like a 5950. So I on my grind like it reached a 50. I pay you no mind if it's none of my business. Cause I spend all my time handling my business, my business, my business.
This is Savage.
And this is Ty.
And we are from the Articulate Podcast, and you are listening to The Stephen Knight Show.
Well, that's our show. Hopefully everyone is able to walk away, with a different mindset or hear something that they didn't think of before by listening to our discussion on race relations. I think it's with the climate we're in, with the person we have in the White House, these conversations are more important than ever before. Well, I hope that you enjoyed the show. Have a great week. And we'll be back next Monday. Good night and God bless.
Tonight it's all eyes on me. Everything's gonna be alright. And when we get there, I'ma see a pretty young thing. I'ma ask her to take my hand to the floor. We gon' dance. And when we get there,